Tonight, the Department of Human Services is forced to remove a minor from the care of a father after an audio chronicling abuse is released. The CSA blasts the government after its announcement of duty-free concessions on vehicles for some public servants. And Massey Stores addresses concerns about steep price hikes and says there is not much it can do. The details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Wednesday, the 24th of June, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow, Channel 117. The broadcast is also being simulcast on Kiss FM, on our Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and on our Facebook page. I'm lovely Saint Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. An abused child has been removed from the care of a father following an audio recording of abuse being meted out to the child at the hands of the father. Efforts to reach the director of the Division of Human Services, Beverly Ann Poyot, for comment were unsuccessful up until news time. But she is quoted by online news agency St. Lucia Times as saying, quote, "The child has been removed from the situation." Poyot also disclosed that the mother of the approximately 2-year-old male is assisting the police with investigations into the matter. The father can be heard in the audio recording hitting and cursing the child for defecating in the home. The Vulnerable Persons team of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is investigating the matter. The government of St. Lucia has announced duty-free concessions on vehicles to essential service workers. The Prime Minister explained the reason for the move in his budget address on Tuesday. Meanwhile, reaction from the Civil Service Association, CSA, has been swift. They condemn the Prime Minister for attempting to divide public officers. Essential service workers have been offered a concession by the government, a gift of sorts for what the Prime Minister said was the great level of dedication during the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. He made the announcement during his budget address on Tuesday evening.
As a government, we also recognize the hard work of our essential service staff during the height of our early mitigation efforts against the spread of COVID in St. Lucia. These workers faced immense challenges in carrying out their duties, and it was painful to note that essential service staff, nurses, police officers, firemen, and firewomen were profiled when taking public transportation, and in many instances were turned away from buses in their uniforms. To that end, our government has taken the decision to provide duty-free concessions on vehicles for a stipulated period of time to essential service staff who've been employed for more than 5 years within the public service.
The Civil Service Association, CSA, views the overture as a Trojan horse of sorts. The association calls it discriminatory and unconscionable, a move they think is aimed at dividing public officers.
Basically, CSA had made a representation to government so that traveling officers would be afforded duty-free concessions, bearing in mind that they use their vehicles to carry out work assigned to them. As a result of that, we found that with the rising cost of fuel and parts and so, it was becoming uneconomical to run a vehicle, to be a traveling officer. And so we have made that representation. Over 150 traveling officers signed the petition, yet government emphatically refused to entertain the request. So now when we hear that all of a sudden other public officers are being given that consideration, it says to us that this is discriminatory. If you're doing it for one, you should do it for all. And whereas we have no difficulty whatsoever with public officers, other public officers getting a benefit, we think our officers who deserve it, particularly those traveling officers, should be accorded it. And I believe it's an attempt to undermine the unity, the solidarity that has existed in the last few months in our most recent dispute with government over the salaries and the bonds issue.
According to the Prime Minister, the details of the duty-free concession for essential workers like doctors, nurses, police and firemen will be finalized after further consultation with relevant stakeholders. The duty-free concession on vehicles for essential service workers is a topical issue, and you, Joe and Jane Public, have weighed in. Here is what you had to say.
Civil servants, no banks will not give nobody loans at that time. Because 100%, whatever you give there, you're supposed to give that since 3 years back. Not now they're asking for that. Taxi drivers asking for that, not now. When you tell me you give 100% now, which bank not giving you a loan? Banks not even giving people loan for houses now. So that's what their Prime Minister did. He's just throwing people and then leave the bus. At the time you had to give it 3 years back, it gone. COVID come, COVID mashed up the whole world. So the Prime Minister have to go back with that.
Guys, when I look at that, it's already too late. Because what bank that is going to give you a loan right now in this kind of time we're living in? What bank? So it's Maji that man talking, guys. Huh?
So how they getting the money to pay? No work, no money. So it ain't making no sense.
So what's about when that person get that vehicle, when he's selling that vehicle, how much money the person had to buy that vehicle from the person that? That is what they have to ask. So what's about when that person get that vehicle, when he's selling that vehicle, how much money the person had to buy that vehicle from the person that? That is what they have to ask.
So I should have done that a long time ago, but for now they're not right now. We're not kind of hard cover season. It's kind of very difficult for everybody right now, so you should wait.
Well, maybe now the government see like his foot in one shoes. That's why he want to give the cut. But what I telling the people now, they mustn't change their mind. And now it's too much suffering for the people now. Maybe if he do it now, to myself, it's too late for him now. What he have to do now is just start giving his horse to eat, how they call it, molasses. But I hope those horses are good horses. You mustn't pappy show the people, because what I say now also, the voice of the people and everybody is suffering and crying. But I hope that Prime Minister don't do nothing late and to get later, because when he start saying, "Moi fâché, moi fâché, moi fâché." I don't know what he was vexed for. Now he making everybody fâché, 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 and the whole of St. Lucia fâché.
Those were your views. Massy Stores is addressing concerns about steep price hikes and going a step further to assure customers that they are operating in accordance with the law as opposed to taking advantage of the pockets of the nation during a trying time for all. Managing Director of Massy Store St. Lucia Limited, Martin Dorville, says the Massy Store customer remains a top priority. Rochelle Gonzalez reports. On Tuesday, June 23rd, Massy Store St. Lucia sent out a press statement addressing the many concerns of customers surrounding the sharp overnight rises in the price of certain goods on the shelves. In the statement, the price hikes were acknowledged. However, the supermarket chain revealed that the reason behind the changes were beyond their control. One such reason included supplier price increases brought on by recent unprecedented global demand, in addition to factors affecting the production capability of manufacturers. Those factors are heavily affecting food supply chains across the globe, and no geographic space has been spared. A simple search of global supermarket price increases would provide some insight into the situation. On Wednesday, Managing Director of Massy Store St. Lucia Limited, Martin Dorville, answered a number of burning questions on the matter with hopes of easing the minds of concerned customers. Dorville said Massy Stores has always been committed to serving customers, especially during these trying times.
I think this is a cry from our people. People react in different ways. People are silent and unbothered. Some of them are silent and they go through the struggle. Some customers are very aggressive and lash out. Some persons ask questions and some persons offer advice. And we have gotten all of that. And we appreciate the feedback in all forms. What I will always do is ask that you judge us fairly, because we have really shown you who we are and that we are ready to serve.
The second reason behind the price increase surrounded the recently imposed Article 164. Dorville explained the rationale.
As it relates to Article 164, notwithstanding the significant price increases that a wide range of products would have faced, the rationale for Article 164 is very critical. It is meant to provide an advantage to our locally manufactured products. And I would like at this point in time to urge our St. Lucian public to take this opportunity to support our locally manufactured products. I indicated that the prices of those products would not have substantially increased. And why I said not substantially increased, because there are other factors impacting raw materials outside. There are other factors impacting local manufacturer prices apart from Article 164. The price of the raw materials would have increased, as was the case with one or two of our suppliers. So it is very important for me to make it clear that there might have been some price increases across local items, and that is the purview of the local manufacturer. But the price advantage of our local manufactured items are sufficient that I think as customers and as St. Lucians, we need to pay closer attention so that we can provide support in that regard.
Dorville reminded the public that during the pandemic, they worked to the best of their ability to provide the nation with an essential service so that they could take care of their staff and customers. He said during that time, the company gained the trust and confidence of the nation, and they will not destroy that relationship by seeking short-term gains by price gouging. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez. A male individual sustained injuries after being hit in the head with a pole on Wednesday morning. He was discovered sprawled out at the intersection of Jeremy Street and the John Compton Highway. The Hot 7 TV news team was at the scene and spoke to some of the witnesses.
A crowd of curious onlookers gathered at the intersection of Jeremy Street and the John Compton Highway to investigate what some say was a young man who received a lash of pole to his face. Police were summoned to the scene and they continued the investigations.
Many people at the scene described the man as rowdy and mischievous. He is even known to have dubbed himself the president of the Zombie Association, as he is usually seen roaming the streets. Members of the public say, although he can be a cantankerous individual, they are nonetheless dismayed that he was treated in such a way.
Because I know he's a miserable fella, he's a troublesome fella. You understand? So I wouldn't say the person is right, but sometimes you never know what to do the person. Because not all of us have the same patience. Not everyone else that can take the same little pressure. You understand? I would knock him out, I'll leave him, I may look for police for him. But maybe the person that do him that maybe don't want to look for police, they can't take again. So then I can't tell you who wrong or who right. You understand? But I myself wouldn't do it.
The victim's cousin, Hubert August, arrived at the scene and explained that the individual in question had received a blow near the Bexar bus stand and subsequently passed out at the intersection of Jeremy Street and the John Compton Highway, where he was eventually found. He explained that his biggest grievance was the response time of the fire service.
And not today, not now the man there, you know. Not now, almost an hour the man there. With them kind of lash a post. And look where the ambulance. Not now they call in ambulance, they can't find the ambulance. That is shit, man. Check the way the man is there. The man bleed how much already, the man spit how much blood already. You understand? And the man still there. But of course, that's not now. Just put the man behind the van. And the man get the lash by Bexar bus stand, you know. And not now the man that have a whole hour and a half. The man there, youth. You understand?
And after what seemed like 45 minutes, according to persons at the scene, the ambulance finally arrived. Members of the public pointed out the alleged perpetrator of the incident to the city police, and he has been accosted and is going to be questioned.
Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
St. Lucia currently has on record 19 cases of COVID-19. The last case was diagnosed on the 4th of June 2020. The individual has now recovered fully and has been discharged from the hospital, giving the country a 100% recovery rate. As such, there are no confirmed cases of COVID-19 currently in care. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar George says the country's management of COVID-19 thus far has been very successful.
Testing results received on June 24, 2020 indicated 27 negative test results. A total of 1,619 tests have been carried out to date. There are now 306 people in quarantine. Most of those are nationals repatriated from cruises. All persons in quarantine are doing well with no symptoms of COVID-19.
The Ministry of Health notes the continuous increase of global cases of COVID-19. So, though at the national level, St. Lucia has been able to manage the epidemic, the ministry reminds everyone of the need to remain cautious and maintain behaviors that will reduce the risk of spreading the virus. Be reminded that in addition to maintaining hand hygiene and cough etiquette, alongside the use of a mask and maintaining physical distance requirements, self-care is also a necessary component of prevention efforts.
Through the combination of increased daily consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables, regular physical activity, avoiding harmful products like tobacco, and the excessive consumption of alcohol, a stronger immune system is built. By building your immune levels, there is increased ability to fight off COVID-19 and other infectious diseases. For people living with chronic conditions, these actions are of particular importance and will add great value in preventing further complications with their condition.
Visit your closest community wellness center or speak with your private healthcare provider for further guidance on actions to aid in prevention of ill health. The ministry remains available to guide and support in decision-making that promotes health and well-being. The Ministry of Health and Wellness will also continue to provide the public with regular updates on COVID-19. You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, vendors up in arms about rules regarding no roadside vending. The CCC addresses some of the teething problems at the new market. That and more after the break.